to, from number 4 to the first, move it up to the presentation of new planting plan for Tilly Pond Park by Debbie Murray first. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
I need a second. Amy, thank you. Can you do the roll call, Jamie, real quick? I guess we don't have it. I guess we'll vote, and I guess we can do it. Does that sound legal, Jim? Even though we don't have everybody here?
I don't think you can vote without a quorum. So I don't think you can move. As far as I know, I don't think you can. I don't think you can vote without a quorum.
Can we move to open the meeting without a quorum? I thought we could do that.
Yes.
I thought so too. We've done it in the past,
Yeah.
where we moved items up.
Yeah. And we can't just vote. We can't vote on anything, but we can move to open the meeting.
Okay, let's just move the item up then, without the vote, it sounds like, right, Kathy, if we can't vote? Sorry about that, guys. Let's get Debbie started then on the presentation for the new planting plan for Tilly Pond Park. Debbie Murray will be speaking. She is one of the former presidents of the Garden Club of Darien, and they've done an amazing amount of work in our parks, including Wheat Beach, Cherry Lawn, to name a few. So she's got an exciting new plan that she'd like to talk to us about tonight.
Great. Thank you, Susan. As Susan said, I'm representing the Garden Club of Darien. A couple of years ago, we did a big fundraiser in town and raised a significant amount of money that needs to be spent in and around Darien. My co-chair, Emily DeAndrea, and I went on a little, just a little like trip around town, looking at different parks and looking at things that we thought could be projects we could take on. And we settled sort of on the gazebo in Tilly Pond Park, and sort of thought that looked like it needed a little love. And so one of our members is a landscape architect, and she went through and designed a plan for the entrance to that. I think her overall concept is to use mostly natives for the plan, and to use sort of modernize the design and use large swaths of maybe 5 different plant materials. And I think Pam's going to share her screen with you so you can see some of the designs. Our thinking is to bid this out to a few people, come back with what we think it would cost to do this, and hopefully plant it later this spring. If not, if we have to wait for all the approvals and it won't get done, we'll do it in the fall. We're trying to do low maintenance things that will stay in the bed. We'll have 9 months of interest for looking at, and should be relatively self-sufficient. So Pam, do you want to show?
Which one would you like me to start with, Deb?
I think maybe the overall schematic of the front probably is the best. Like the drawing, maybe.
With the drawing?
Yeah, that one with the drawing. That's good. I think that's fine.
This one here or the other one?
The one you just had. Sort of the cover one, I think.
Okay. And let me just get this opened up. How's that? Can everybody see that?
Can you expand it? Is that as big as it gets?
Is that all right? Can everyone see it? Okay.
Yes,
So
I can.
just so we're clear on the choice of the plants, there's been some variation in it. We are trying to make it mostly native. There's a couple of things we're looking at, like the contorta, which is sort of a good interest, sort of twiny branch sort of structure that would hide that. There's an electrical box that's over in the left-hand corner. We would take over the planters and do something that maybe we wouldn't use boxwood, but we use something that would have kind of year-round interest in the planters that would go along there. And then using the phlox, which is not native, but it's very few things that would go up against the stone and be okay as a ground cover. And the thought is just to sort of cover that area, make it pretty but not too big, and kind of extend out so it meets the other plantings or trees around there and makes a pretty entrance into there. There's been quite a lot of stuff ripped up right around that entrance, but it just does look like it needs a lot of help. We would have to do a lot of remediation with the soil to prepare it and bring in different aspects of that. And then the plantings are a lot of grasses and, as I said, just other, do you want to actually, Pam, do you want to go to the next that shows some of the plantings? So this just kind of shows you that in the 4 planters, there would be what she has it as boxwood now, but maybe we'd change it. The sort of the blue purple on the ground cover, that's what would kind of come up against the walkway that would make it pretty. And then there's some low grasses and high grasses, some iris, and then this the one on the upper right is this plant that it gets very full and grows quickly to cover that big electrical box, but it has interest in the winter because it's sort of all those curly branches. We're flexible on what plants would be chosen for this. We have an alternate list of a bunch of natives. People in our garden club are sort of giving different opinions as well, but this was the plan that the landscape architect came back with to provide 9 months of kind of coverage and stuff that she thought would do well and grow well within a park environment. And I think one more is the schematic of the overall plan, which she has, right? Yes, you can see it would sort of be large groupings of things that would make it kind of clump, and it would modernize it a little bit. And that's pretty much it. Do we have questions? I hope I can answer them.
I just want to make a comment. When we met with Susan and yourself and Emily, we just made sure that there was a focus on less maintenance for our crew. Right. So if you could just speak to that, that would be great.
That was the first thing that I said when we came up with this plan, was it has to be, because I know because I was involved in some of those plantings in Cherry Lawn, and I've spoken with Ed in Public Works before too. And I understand that the town does not want to maintain anything. So this one, unlike the one at Cherry Lawn, does not require a lot of maintenance. If we go with the person who planted the things at Cherry Lawn, we would have him watering and taking care of it during at least the first year, maybe 2 years. We talked with you also about possibly putting in a rain barrel that would provide a water coverage and figuring out ways to water it, maintain it. But I think once these root after a year, it'll be pretty easy. And grasses in general are pretty self-sufficient, which would make it an easier planting and less maintenance.
That's what we like to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So Debbie, hi, it's Amy. I think it's really pretty and very well done. And I love your colors and your plant choices. Is that phlox? I know phlox is super appetizing to deer. I don't know if that phlox is in particular.
I don't think it is, because the person who is doing the designs was saying that she was picking things that weren't deer friendly, because she's very on that.
Yeah, I figured. I just wanted to make sure.
I can go back and ask her for sure about that, but I'm almost positive that when she was saying what she was picking, she was saying it was not deer friendly.
So Debbie, thank you so much. It looks absolutely beautiful, and it does need some care over there. I walk my dog over there, so I think it looks so pretty. Do you know if any of the plantings are safe for children, or if they all are safe for children? I just am concerned about that, because that park is used so much and kids are always running around.
I have never been asked that question before, but I wouldn't think that grasses and iris and phlox, I wouldn't think so, but I will certainly ask that question.
Okay, I'm sure they are. I don't think they're a problem either, because I have them in my yard, but I just thought we should ask the question.
Okay, that's fine. I will definitely ask that question. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Thanks.
Sure. So that's it. We're hoping, as I said, hoping to move forward this spring. And I should actually back up and say that this year is the 100th or 200th anniversary, 100th anniversary of Frederick Law Olmsted, his life. And the Garden Club of America is sort of putting initiatives forward for clubs to be planting in park spaces and returning things to beauty to sort of acknowledge and honor him and his memory. And Tilly Pond was not obviously designed by Olmsted, but it's our effort as a garden club to also honor that request from the Garden Club of America.
Deb, can I add one thing to it? And I apologize if I missed this, if you had stated this during your presentation, but with, could you talk to the fact that during the year, at each season, this planting will be colorful, correct? I mean, new things will come up each season.
I did say that it does give us 9 months of 9 months of coverage, so it'll look pretty for the 9 months of the year. And in the winter, that curly willow or that curly whatever that thing is, the walking stick, Harry Walker's walking stick, whatever it's called, that's got interest in the winter, and the grasses, if they're cut down, will still have some structure at least.
Great, thank you.
You know, it's also nice sometimes to leave the grasses for that
Right.
winter interest and then cut them down in the spring. I notice commercially that everybody cuts down their grasses, but I always love it in a private garden to see them, you know, with snow on them or little crystals of ice. And, you know, it's nice to maybe consider having them not cut down.
Right.
So that offers some winter interest as well.
Yeah, even if they were cut down a little bit, it would still offer that opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all we've got.
I love it. Debbie, will you thank everybody, Emily and the landscaper for us? It's really nice of you guys to do this.
Certainly will, once we have approval to go forward.
Yeah.
If it's okay with the commissioner, I'd like to get a sense of the meeting so that she can kind of go forward and get the estimates that she needs to go forward. Just as an FYI, if this project is below $10,000, we can approve it and then, you know, they're ready to go. Anything over that, it'll have to go through the different boards in town. So it's important that she's able to do that quickly before, you know, so I want to give her that chance to do that. So if everybody could just give me a sense if there's any opposition or wholehearted support, let's discuss it quickly now. I'm sorry that we don't have a vote, that we can't do a vote tonight because it's not on the agenda. But I think if we give her a sense of the meeting that we're for this project, she can go forward and get those bids and start.
Wholehearted support. I think it sounds like a great idea. So.
I'm there as well. Debbie, thank you. And the Garden Club, I think it looks great. So count me in.
Janet is on the line now. It's not, no video, but.
Yeah, I saw she's on the line. But
Okay.
is the sense I'm getting that, oh, there she is. Everybody's in favor of having them proceed with this plan? Yes, it sounds like it. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Debbie. We really greatly
Great,
appreciate
thank you all. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, great.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Deb.
Bye.
Bye, Deb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our approval of the commission minutes from February 16, 2022. So we're back in order because we have a full quorum now. Do I have any changes from any of our commissioners on the minutes?
I have one small change. I think on the voting log, I was recorded as a yes, but I was absent. So I think it was just a typo.
Okay.
I don't, is the voting log included as the minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
It is. Okay.
Any other changes from our commissioners?
Jamie, I couldn't find anything this time.
All right. Thank you.
I have a couple.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Susan, you're on mute. Susan,
Sorry.
you're on mute.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I hate when I do that. I do have a couple, nothing major, some typos. On page 2, under the update on Weed Beach Meadow and Trail Project, it says Ms. Montanaro had explained her intention, I think you mean to say. With a T, T-I-O-N, not S-I-O-N. Do you see that? It's like the second sentence, I believe. Ms. Montanaro had explained her intention, T-I-O-N. Did you get that, Jamie?
Yes, I was kind of just writing it down, so I'm looking for it now. I'm sorry. Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Got it. And then on page 3, almost not like the third sentence from the top, it says potentially manage. You had said mange, just in case.
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Then on the bottom of page 3, you have Mcguane Park, but it's McGuan Park at the very end,
Yep,
bottom of
okay.
that. And then on page 4, on pretty much close to the top, it says to ensure the money was disseminated to benefit multiple parks. I think you mean divided, maybe. That sounds a little better. Like, right,
Okay.
that the money would be divided. Not that that wasn't said, but divided sounds a little better.
Okay.
So those are my changes. Can we approve the changes as specified? Anybody have a motion for that? To approve the minutes as revised? Any commissioners can do that. Kara's one first, Kathy second. All in favor, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Susan,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and Janet.
Yes.
We're good.
Okay, let's move on to public comments. Do we have any tonight, Pam? Do anybody call in or?
No,
Okay,
no.
maybe when we are in person, we'll get more public comment in the future. Thank you. Let's move on to number 5, because we already did number 4. Update and discussion on 2022 concession at Pear Tree Beach. I think that's you, Pam.
Yes. So as I mentioned last month, I had met with Ableus, a company in town, to walk the property and the concession and to discuss whether or not this might be a nice fit for their nonprofit to vend at our concession at Pear Tree. So they took it back to their president and their financial advisor, and based on the draft lease that I had sent them, the draft lease that was the same as it was last year, just to give them a feeling for what would be listed there. They were a hard no because of asking for 7% of the gross sales. They just really didn't think that it would fit within their scope. So I felt it was a good thing to do, thinking that it's a first time kind of a template year. And I thought it would be a win-win if we just went at this and said, listen, we'll go with it with no percentage whatsoever this year. And if by any means at the end of the summer that you come ahead really profiting so much that it's great, they'll give a donation back to the town for being able to vend there. But I think it's a good thing. They're very excited about the opportunity now because they don't want to go in and lose money with the possibility of losing money. So I think it's okay. I think we should move ahead. They're very excited now about it. And we can see how they do. And if they have a decent year, then we can talk about next year and renegotiate. So they're very happy with that. I feel like it's getting very close to summertime. We needed to have a plan, and I think it's a good one. I think that it's a great company. They're not going to have any tough time staffing it. We're gonna discuss in the next 4 weeks what their menu will look like. It's probably going to be pretty simple to grab and go and ice cream and sweets type of thing. So it is what it is for this summer, but at least it will be open. And I think we'll find that it will be consistently open rather than inconsistently. So
And
that's,
I have two quick questions. That have they committed to hours that it will be open? And are there, and that's one question. Then the second is, are there any obligations on our side that would, we would incur costs associated with this?
we will incur a few costs because we pay for the electric, but very little, nothing really out of the ordinary. It's going to be pretty simple because they won't be firing up propane. You know, I did offer them to use our town grill that we have down there. They could pull outside if they wanted to do a special day like hot dogs and hamburgers. They're certainly welcome to do that. But I will be able to report back to you in April with a more details in terms of hours. But I want to say they'll definitely be open from at least like 10 to 4, if not 11 to 5. So we'll come up with a plan, and I'll come back and report on it.
And they're a nonprofit, right? So they're a little bit different than what we've had there before, where the companies were for profit. They're a nonprofit entity.
Correct. That's why I felt good about the negotiation. I really didn't want them to walk away and feel as if we were trying to make a ton of money off them when they didn't understand, and they know the last vendor lost money. So going into it like that is, they're very hesitant, and I can understand that. So maybe with their grab and go and ice cream plan, maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe they will walk away making money. So we shall see.
We can, we can have them cover their costs in the contract if they make money, and if they don't, we'll cover the costs. You can do something like that too. That's just, yeah. So if they do make money, then you have your costs covered, but they're nonprofit, so I'm good with it. I think it would be nice to see the menu. So.
Yes. We just basically renegotiated last week and just sealed the deal. We haven't even signed a lease, so we have to redrop the lease. Kate's got to sign it. Monica's got to sign, and we'll leave the details. Will get worked out in the next 2 months. So that's that.
Any other feedback from the commissioners? Sounds like a great plan, Pam. Thanks for working on that. Sounds like a great group. And they're kind of all around town now, so it's good to have them aboard. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is discuss and vote if needed on funding source for exterior painted on Weed Beach facilities. Do you want to talk a little bit about that real quick, and we'll jump in?
Sure. So the painting of the exterior of the bathhouse and the exterior of the paddle hut was cut during the town administrator's budget, and it really got missed. I wasn't aware. Lori wasn't aware. So by the time I went to the Board of Selectmen and we found out it was cut, we never had a chance to argue the point. So Lori has since sent pictures of both facilities to Monica. I don't know if she sent it to the Board of Selectmen, but to Monica. And Monica's feedback was that she didn't, and we were asking if we could make a special appropriation request to the Board of Finance. And her feedback was she felt that perhaps we needed to, swap out a capital item in its place if we were willing to do that in order to get the money. We discussed the swing set that has been going back and forth for so long, the $11,000. And the sticky part is that we just had a very successful ARPA meeting on Monday night with the Park and Rec RTM. And the swing set is in the ARPA money for $11,000. So, and at the time, I didn't feel it was the right time to get involved in this swapping, because it wasn't the people that would be making the decisions about swapping out the capital, item. So my feeling is the buildings look really, really bad. The salt water has really, especially the paddle hut, even though the bathhouse is closer to the water, but the bathhouse peaks are really, really need to be touched up. So I feel that if we do go ask for a special appropriation publicly, my gut is, and Adele, you might be able to speak to this. My gut is, I think that the we're not asking for a lot of money. We're asking for $15,000. So my gut is that we should do that. But certainly Lori felt that we should bring it to the commission and ask and get your feedback on that.
I was there a couple of days ago with my dog and actually ran into a lot of constituents, and they noticed the chipping paint, and we were all talked about how this is probably the first building many new potential residents, like people looking at houses, come. I know the realtors bring their clients there. One of the first places they bring them, and to kind of show them a building with chipping paint is kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. If that's their first view they get of the town, I mean, I'm just embarrassed. I mean, it wouldn't even our standards of care wouldn't be met from an aesthetic point of view, for sure. And when I mentioned it to someone and how much it cost, they were like, "That's it?" They're like, "I'll write a check." I mean, they were just blown away at what a visual impact that chipping paint has on a park facility. So I'd encourage.
I do want to clarify that it is a very inexpensive price, but the painter, that 15,000 included the peaks only and the paddle hut. So our guys we have a pretty professional painter on our crew, Mike Moretti, and he will be responsible for doing the lower parts of Weed Beach bathhouse, which really isn't too bad. It shouldn't take him very long, but it's really the peaks that are the hardest points to get at. So that's what would be included in the 15,000 is the peaks of the bathhouse and the entire paddle hut.
Was it not approved in the last budget, or did we not ask for it, Pam? I don't remember, so I'm sorry.
We asked for it. The commission approved it. When it went to the town administrator, she made the cut. She didn't cut it, she deferred it to next year. But in reality, it really looks sorry to going into the summer season. Anybody else want to make a comment, or, I mean, how you feel about having me go to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance and asking for a special request for the 15,000?
I think we have to vote on it if you're going to go forward, I think. Don't you think, Pam? I mean, I don't know.
Right, it does say discuss and vote, correct.
Because it's too big of a thing to, put on you to just molest them. This is, as a commission, we have to affirm it, entirely or not. And, if anybody has any other feedback on it, I'd like to hear it. Or if you guys agree, I'm okay with putting a vote in front of the commission on this.
Hello?
Who's that?
Actually, it's Adele here. I apologize because I'm at a ball game and it's noisy, so I keep trying to stay off your line. But I don't think you have much to lose to go before them. I'm a little nervous because I heard them last night, move more funds out of their contingency, which their contingency is getting small. But
frustrating. I can't get anything on that. Even mail.
Sorry,
I'm on the phone listening.
I think that's Sheila. So Adele's talking. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it slipped through me. I didn't see it until, I think we all missed it. Yeah, and I agree that the peaks are bad. So my advice is go for it, I guess, and that's what I can say.
Thank you.
And do you think that we would be more successful if we put forward a slightly modified plan? So maybe have the outside painter do all the peaks and our internal staff also do the paddle hut? Is there a way we can get this done and get it approved? I support the work. I'm just wondering what's the best way to get it approved.
It's not realistic for our crew to handle the whole paddle hut during this season. So I really went on a limb and said, look, can we take one guy and do the least amount of work on the bathhouse, because it doesn't need as much work there, but the paddle hut, it needs a lot of work. So I think it's fair to say that we'll do what we can. It probably wouldn't happen before the summer. If we got this, if they only approved us, say they only approved us for $5,000, then we could do that in the spring and then maybe the guys could take their time and do it in the winter, in the summer when they're not as busy, say August. But we wouldn't have it nice and tidy for the summer season.
Pam, how would you need us to put together this motion for you to kind of be able to go forward to is it the Board of Finance or is it the Board who do we need to go back to now?
I believe I need to go to both. I need to go to the Board of Selectmen and to the Board of Finance.
Okay, so I guess we should make a motion to request additional funding to paint the exterior of the Weed Beach facilities in the amount of, do we have to tell an amount? $15,000?
Yes.
To the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance, right? That's what
Correct.
we need to do. Did you get that, Jamie? I don't know if it's a good motion, but if it gets you to do what you can do, that'd be
Yes.
great. Can someone make a motion or act the actual motion? I just worded it, sorry. Kathy. Second is Janet. Can you do the roll call?
Yes, sorry, who's second?
Janet.
Thank you. Susan,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes, definitely.
and Cara.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you, guys. That's great. Let's move on to the next agenda item, number 7, which is discuss
Wait,
and vote on
I
the.
have a question. I just have one question. Pam, were you surprised when it was taken out? I mean, how?
I did not know about it. If I had known about it, then we would have backed it up quickly with pictures. But when Kate takes her budget from us, it becomes her budget. So it just never, it didn't get voiced to me that it was cut. I remember in the Board of Selectmen hearing that the Woodland paving had gotten deferred to the next year. And I distinctly remember that, but both Lori and I didn't hear it. And then when there was an ARPA meeting, Lori overheard Kate saying that the painting was deferred and the pavement was deferred at Woodland. So just got missed.
Yeah, so I guess I'm more interested in, I mean, I'm sorry that you have to go through this and thank you for working on it, but I'm more interested in the kind of disconnect between Kate, like taking it, just denying it or whatever the correct language is, and us not knowing, like, she doesn't give you a heads up, like, this is something that I mean, do you give her your priorities and say, this is a number 1, we really need this. It's not.
Yes, we have priorities. The commission had voted on the capital items in there.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't just give you a quick phone call and say, hey, by the way, I'm not gonna.
She has in the past. I don't know how, I mean, I don't know what happened. I can't answer that, because in the past I have known about certain cuts. This in particular one I did not know about.
Time to respond, right? Because now you're in a jam. Because you have time to respond, because now you're in a jam because we didn't get the heads up on it.
Well,
it's delayed, and so if we do get the money, it's going to be late in the summer, and it's not going to look all fresh and tidy and exciting and great when people arrive.
No, if a special request goes through, we won't have to wait for the money.
But the painting won't get done, if I'm understanding you correctly, until August, right?
No, you're misunderstanding. That was if we didn't get the request. Then if we didn't get the funding, then the only other way to handle the painting of the facility would be to use our own men, but there's no way
Okay.
that our guys could do it earlier. They'd have to do it later.
All right, so we're really hoping that this is going to pass then. Okay,
Yes.
thanks for letting us know.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, on to the next agenda item. Discuss and vote on the Park and Recreation Commission testimony regarding pending legislation HB 5361 and HB 5254. I'd like to thank Janet for spearheading the effort on this and writing two very good letters for our commission. Thank you very much. And if you'd like to speak about it for a few minutes, or if anybody has questions.
Yeah, sure. I think I shared multiple versions already with the commission. Had a lot of help from Lori. I think she and I kind of just, put some contents together in very rough draft form last week before she left. So yeah, I think I've incorporated everyone's changes and edits and thoughts and ideas, and so grateful for that. But if there's any other feedback, happy to discuss on the call. We can always incorporate it right after, or incorporate it then vote on the changes.
Hey, Janet, do you want to give everyone the background of why we're doing it versus the selectmen, and what was the idea that the commission would take this on?
Why it became a testimony from the commission, you mean?
Yeah, that would be helpful to understand.
Sure. Yeah, I think I originally sent it to the commission just more as a personal alert, just in case anyone wanted to testify, individually. And I believe our first select woman was looking into testifying on behalf of the town of Darien, but I think she was also testifying against a couple of other bills more related to some of the statewide zoning bills. So I think in that, I think Planning and Zoning Commission was also asked to testify for some of the zoning bills. So then from what I understand, she had contacted Lori to ask if the commission could testify for the beach bills, since it's directly related to beach and parks that we oversee. And I believe that's how it came about.
Janet, when is the testimony going to be submitted?
So the public hearings for both beach bills already occurred. One this past Monday, and one was the previous Monday. So we kind of need to get it in pretty soon. While the committees, both one is coming out of the Planning and Development Committee, the other one's coming out of the Transportation Committee. So I believe they'll spend the next month, discussing bills, whether they should come out of committee. So the sooner we can get them in, hopefully the committees can take into account our voice. Most other towns in Fairfield County, like that's on the coast, have already submitted theirs, I believe.
Any more questions, Janet?
Any other questions for me on that?
Yeah. Do we have copies of the other 10 testimony? Is that public?
Yeah, eventually they will be made public. It actually gets posted. I checked on their website. I haven't seen it yet, but I know Fairfield. If they testify in person, I don't know if they'll transcribe that or just they'll also have a written testimony posted as well. But I'm happy to, follow up and get what we can from the other towns.
Any other feedback?
Yeah, any other feedback on the testimonies themselves from the version I sent out last night? Guess we're good to go on the voting.
Would you like to make a motion to accept
Sure.
the letter?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to accept the testimony for bills HB 5361 and bills 5254 that were circulated last evening as is, and to be submitted to the two committees tomorrow from our commission.
I second it.
Can you do the vote, Jamie?
Are the second?
Kara was second.
Thank you. Susan?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
And Amy?
Yes.
Everybody.
Unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Janet. That was
Thank you
a
all
lot of work.
so much.
Appreciate it. We're going to move on to the next agenda item, number 8, report from working group committees. I wanted to thank the commissioners and our RTM committee members for all your hard work on these committees so far. I know some of you have met and done some great work, so thank you very much. The first committee in order here is playground. Kathy, do you want to talk about it, or Pam, or about where we're at? How, what our progress has been?
So Pam, I think we got the funding, so I'm going to let you start. So, because that's the best news, right?
Right. So I think there's definitely one final vote that needs to happen from the RTM, but it was passed unanimously Monday night through the Park and Recreation RTM, and Board of F&B was on there as well with Jack. And yeah, we were approved for all 3 playgrounds. It's $500,000 at Cherry Lawn, and it's $175,000 at McGuan and $150,000 at Baker. We were also approved for $20,000 worth of reinstallation of our water fountains around town, and $10,000 worth of picnic tables, swapping out old picnic tables with new ones. And for some reason, I feel like I'm forgetting something else. But anyhow, on the subject of playgrounds, we are getting funded, and that's super exciting. So on our playground working group, it's been Kathy, Susan, and I. I understand from Adele, there's 2 RTM members. I believe one is Sarah Baldwin. I'm not sure the other.
Mahoney is the other one.
Right. And we were today trying to figure. We were trying to figure out districts, because between our small group, we wanted to make sure that if we add 3 more people, with it being a total of 5 additional residents besides ourselves, that they come from all different school districts, so that we have a really nice divided variety group of people with children. And so we will be looking for a few more. And
So,
Patty happened to be on our last meeting, and Patty's going to help with the PTOs of the different districts. And we had a really great conversation about surfacing, taking this opportunity to make sure that we design for all abilities, for all playgrounds. And we talked about how we would go about choosing equipment, because equipment is just so vast in its varieties, and there's so many different playground vendors out there. So Susan, Kathy, and I discussed the fact that perhaps the way to start, and we will discuss it with the full playground group, is that we could choose a few of the different playground vendors that we're very well aware of, that we've maybe been very successful with in town, and we can invite them to submit their latest, greatest design for that amount of money for each park. And that would give us a place to start and kind of go from there. I don't know if you want to add anything, Kathy?
No, I think you hit all the main points. I think that what's so exciting is that we did get the money, right? So we can update some of the more tired playground materials in our parks to a great level. And between you and Susan and Patty, we have a lot of people who have done this before. So it's a good committee, and we do want to reach out to the rest of the community to get people with little kids and different age kids on the committee as well. So we represent all those different interests.
And I will just add, I will add that our next working group meeting is next Thursday, the 24th, virtually at 8:30.
I just wanted to bring up that Pam also put together a playground inventory for us for the committee, and the only playground that's not being touched will be Weed Beach, since that's the newest one, just to give you an idea. Some of having a diverse committee was very important. I worked on Playground by the Sound, and we actually made sure that each school was represented because their children are going to be playing on these playgrounds. They're the right age group that would be affected by anything we built in these places. So we want them to come with their kids to try out things, invite friends. I know this was so many years ago for me, but for Playground by the Sound, we went and visited all the playgrounds in Norwalk, Stamford, and Westport to try them out to make sure that they were appropriate for the kids and that they would be fun. So I'm very excited that we're able to get this money and do this for the town. And I think we're going to get a great group of people to help. Let's go on to invasives. On that committee is Amy, Mary Louise, and Patty Baumgardner. Amy, do you want to speak to that tonight?
Sure, happy to. So I met with Lori and Mary Louise, and we kind of made a list of what was important to us and how to go about the project. I got in touch with Pam, who very graciously gave me the name of the gentleman that she had gotten a quote from or connected with. Actually, I don't think you got a quote. Oh, you did get a quote, but it was pretty low and appealing. So we then discussed who might be good on our committee outside of our group. And we thought that Jimmy Ma would be good, and Laura I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. She's the woman we met with when we went to the, yeah,
Closure?
okay. Yes, exactly. So both of these people have agreed to join our committee, and we will be walking through Cherry Lawn Park to review the invasives with Laura and Patty and Jimmy and Lori and Mary Louise and myself and the contact from Pam on March 26th. So I'm happy because we now have an agenda. We have a very solid committee of fairly capable and knowledgeable people, I should say. And we've got a date, so we're advancing.
Sounds great. That is a really good group of people that you have working with you. Thanks for doing that, Amy. Next up is...
Can I just add one comment, Susan? Amy, I was just going to add the Darien Land Trust has a lot of experience in managing invasives at the 240 acres of property that they manage. So if you want to be connected with anybody there, just as an added resource, let me know and I'd be happy to make that introduction.
Oh, that would be great. If you have any suggestions of who might be good to join our committee, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll connect you by email and Chris Fulmer.
Oh, lovely.
Great.
Always have room for Chris.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Good suggestion, Sarah. You're up next, Pear Tree.
Perfect. So let's see. I'm so pleased with the way things are going on the Pear Tree Working Group. Foremost, we have a group that's, well, of 8 to 10 folks that I would describe as all highly engaged and highly informed. We've been meeting about every other week and have had close to perfect attendance at our meetings. And I think that just speaks to how important this project is in everybody's hearts. And the group, I would say almost everybody, if not everybody, has binge watched the entire Vimeo series of the Pear Tree Point Beach Building Committee. And so it's a real asset to have people who are so informed about the details and nuances of something that's really complex and ever evolving. So I'm really grateful for the level of engagement and the sort of history and knowledge that people are bringing to this project. We've spent, and I think we mentioned this before, right now we're working on designing a survey to assess functional wants and needs at Pear Tree Point Beach. We spent a lot of time talking about how we could best get a pulse on what the community wants when the project was to some extent already midstream, and that presents some complexities, but the pause of the pandemic, I think, allows us to nuance that, and instead of focusing on beauty contest, do you want version A or B with sprinkles or chocolate sauce, focus on sort of the base level features and functionality that people are looking for. And then I guess the last thing I would mention is, in addition to that, we are continuing to discuss in, I think, a really engaged and fluid way, the pros and cons of the alternative approaches. And those discussions definitely underscore the complexity of the site at Pear Tree. And in talking with an engineer about sort of the difference between the elevation over mean high tide at Pear Tree versus Weed Beach, and it's a couple of feet difference, but he said that is just like an exponential difference when you're talking about site dynamics. So not just the tidal area, but sort of the future evolutions and the many components makes this project complicated. But I'm really pleased with the group that's at the table and look forward to an update at our next meeting.
Kara, just a quick question. I did watch a couple of the meetings online. Thank you so much for having those public. It's great to see the discussion that you guys are having. I noticed that there are quite a couple people that were neighbors on the committee, which is great because I'd like to have their input, which is really important. The only question I have is there any plan to expand the committee to like more like different like people in the community at large, kind of like what we did, maybe not necessarily like the playground, but just to get different types of thoughts and ideas. That's
so we have one neighbor who's participating in the working group, and she has been a great asset. And just a small anecdote, we were talking about the renovation option as proposed by Neil Hauk, and somebody was asking about how much it would cost to redo the electrical system. And Janine said, I know that number, and on her phone, and in 22 seconds, it will cost $8,322 to do X. And so we do have a neighbor, and I think her level of information is helpful. So we do have a big committee already. It was all volunteer people, self-selected. Our survey is designed to go out to everybody in town. So in terms of participation, I don't know that we can get any better than giving everybody an opportunity to contribute, which is the intention in the survey. So anybody who is 18 plus in town should have an opportunity to contribute. So, but always happy to have other voices. So if there's anybody who you know of who's particularly interested, I'd love to get together with them.
I don't personally have anybody. I just wanted to make sure that we do get a lot of different voices. But you're right. When we do the survey, if the questions are, vetted by an outside vendor, I should say, and we're able to kind of do that statistically relevant study survey, I think we'll hopefully get some good feedback. But thank you very much for explaining that and your work so far. Next up is Weed Beach. Pam, do you want to jump on that one too? Sorry to give you all the hard work.
Okay. So we met with Susan, Dan Biggs, Jen Montanaro, and myself. And we revisited the original plan and made some mindful changes to the plan. Trying to reduce the cost of the project, but that was based on figures from the FGB, which is the Darien Athletic Foundation's trusted vendor, which was 1.9 million back in 2019. And so because we had put this in the capital improvement plan and it was left in by the town administrator to go on to the Board of Selectmen, they were very concerned about the $1.9 million quote being so old. And so we met again with Dan to ask him to requote it, as well as Jen was going to be going back to FGB as well. But while he requoted it, we made some mindful changes. So he has just recently emailed us as a committee. We're going to look over those numbers and report back in April. And did I forget anything, Susan? It really was pretty much as simple as that.
Yeah, it was pretty simple, but I just wanted to add that we do have 3 committee members from the RTM Parks and Rec Committee on. They haven't had a chance to input because we haven't met recently, but that's going to be Patty Baumgardner, Adele, and Chris Noonan. So once we reconvene as a group, they'll be able to help us flesh out some of these numbers and ideas and thoughts. So thank you very much, Pam. I think that covered it. Does anybody have any questions about Weed Beach before we move forward? I'm sorry, I'm so good. I'm very efficient. My meetings tend to be very quick. Oh, oops, there's Jim. What's up?
I'm sorry. I just have a general question on the working group committees. Susan, do these meetings have to be posted and minutes be taken for them?
That's a good question. When we started out these committees, I know that they were like the ideas, especially for these smaller groups, were just to keep them within the commission, and we only had 2 or 3 people on them. And so we weren't like a full, we didn't have a quorum. So we've never, had that experience. But now that, if these become full-blown committees, I'm not sure. I think that's something we should talk to either town council or the town about. I know when we did our Weed Beach committees, I'm trying to remember if they weren't obviously, I don't think we ever recorded those. I'm trying to think, we did take notes, but they weren't minutes per se. But like Pam, if we couldn't get back to the town.
The way I understand it is once we have our working committee group, because we haven't had a chance yet to go out and get a diverse group for it, really ours was just a discussion. It really wasn't a meeting per se. It was a discussion about what we were planning on doing and getting a full committee group and then getting a full schedule. So we don't even have a normal schedule at this point. But I think when we do and we're satisfied, we do have to take minutes and post them. We don't necessarily have to go public, but in Kara's group, I think that because that's such a complex subject, that it was very important. So, but I do think that people are very interested, and they're interested in Weed Beach as well. So I don't think that it would be a terrible idea. I think it'd be a good idea.
let's figure it out, especially if
I
they're
wanted to
breaking.
add my experience I got guidance from both Kate Bush and Krista McNamara about how I should handle warning minutes, and they were both terrific. And I think as our group evolved, some of the guidance evolved. So it started with sort of one rule of engagement, and we've modified. And so now we warn our meeting online. We take very simple minutes, but we do, since we also have a Zoom platform, we make the Zoom link available to anybody, and we do also record it. So I think that's what we're doing, and that's who I spoke to.
Jim, I think it's a good question as we have more groups than we've had before. I think we probably should get some consistent advice, advice from the town council on what he thinks we all should do, so we consistently apply it. We haven't met as the playground group formally yet, so I think we're fine for that one. But to Kara's point, her committee has met somewhat formally, and she's gotten advice on to make it public. But we should ask the question and be consistent across the board.
I can talk to Kate and Wayne tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. That was a great question. Thanks for working on that, Pam, too.
No problem.
Let's go on to the director's report.
Okay, so the ARPA, I did list the ARPA projects that were being considered, and of that list, the only one that did not go through, it just got cut, was the boat ramp at Pear Tree. So the one that I did not mention was the installation of an additional paddle court at Weed Beach. That did go through. So that's super exciting there as well. I discussed we went through with the security bid. We have a new vendor called Orion Protective Services. So Jim and I will be working closely with the security guards and the patrol monitor. We will be meeting with them in the next few weeks, I imagine. If not, yeah, they're coming up, because typically we have security in place in mid-April at Weed Beach. So we'll be working on that. The Cherry Lawn Gazebo, as I mentioned, I'm not going to go read through my whole report, but I am working behind the scenes on with different vendors. The vendor that built our security hut is a vendor in Connecticut. And although they don't build they build gazebos, but they don't build anything bigger than a 20-inch. And that would actually be smaller than we have. So, I'm still negotiating with him, but I'm also still looking at other outfits, but they are affordable. So he could build something like that brand new with vinyl, and it would last longer. Regular roofing though, and that would be $37,000, I believe. So we have $55,000. So I'm still currently looking. I spend a couple hours and then I'll go off to some other things and then come back to it for a couple hours. So, I have been in touch with the family. They're very happy about my continued work, and they're pleased. And so when I have something a little bit closer to the 55 that maybe would be around the same size or a little bit larger, I'd be really happy with that. So I will report back as I keep getting more information. The backstop at Baker Park's been ordered. What else? How about we have Jim here? Jim, would you mind talking a little bit about your programs? Maybe even the paddle hut, the paddle tennis season is winding down. You might want to speak to that successful program.
So our registration, as you can see, for our spring and summer programs was up quite a bit compared to past years. We've been very busy. We have a lot of programs that are full. We have a lot of programs with waiting lists that we're trying to accommodate people as much as we can. Our paddle season, I think I noted, we were very similar to what we were through November, and then the Omicron variant hit, and just we had so many people that were sick in town, all over the place. We saw a big dip in paddle play in December and January. So we're going to see our revenue in play down a little bit compared to last year. Just a couple other things to note. I just did the Kayak Lottery. We had 489 people on the list. And we had 60 spots at Pear Tree, 75 at Weed Beach. So we have some disappointed people, unfortunately. But we have some people that we were able to provide storage space down at the beaches for the summer. And if anybody is interested in working this summer as a lifeguard, please let me know, because this is the biggest struggle we've had trying to get lifeguards this year, and we're probably about half staff right now. Many of our lifeguards that are not returning this year are doing internships that they couldn't have done the last 2 years because of COVID, and many are just taking the summer off and traveling because they can and because they want to, and they haven't been able to do so in the last couple of summers. So we'll see where we are a month from now, but just to give you the heads up, we are definitely struggling for lifeguards right now.
Jim, how old do they have to be?
16.
Okay.
16.
I will put out an alert to my high school staff.
Thank you.
We also have a search out for a seasonal, college age in our office from April through August, or even May through August. So we'll even take a retired would be nice, retired person that wants to do some work in the office. So we do have our new social media employee in town hall working on that with us as well. So keep that in mind. And Jamie Gore, if I can throw you in the hot seat, if you want to just talk about your events that are coming up.
Sure. We have week coming up next Saturday. That's March 26th. It'll be from 12 to 3. We opened registration Monday and we are already sold out. We plan to have 300 participants be our max capacity, but we ended up accepting 359. Whoopsie. So we are hardcore sold out. And we have 8 returning vendors participating, and we have 2 that are still thinking about it. So we have at least 8 establishments participating in the actual dessert war part, which is exciting. So we're looking forward to that. And then after that, we'll be partnering with the Darien Nature Center again in April for Earth Day, and they are about to open registration as well. And Parks and Rec will be hosting an activity at that, and we'll be on the theme of recycling for sustainability, and we'll be creating musical instruments that will be encouraging kids to bring to our Selleck's Woods, or Selleck's and Dunlap Woods in May to the event. We're going to have like a whole station, like music station. And so it's kind of like a way to tie the events together. So we're really excited about it. I think it's going to be really cute and the kids are going to love it. So those are our next 2 upcoming events.
That's terrific. You guys do such great work for the town. Thank you, Jim, Jamie, Pam. Really good report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the chairman's report. Sorry, that's Lori's report. I'm going to try to fill in and read what she sent me. The first item she said is that Dan Biggs still does not have sign off from the Army Corps. As of earlier this week, he reached out to them and they are still working on it. And this continues to stall the progress on the project. This is, the boat ramp and Pear Tree. 2, the Coastal Commission had a planning meeting on March 7th to set priorities for the year. Among them are shellfish awareness program to promote recreational shellfishing in Darien waters. We spoke about partnering to deliver learn to shellfish events. I think that will be actually quite interesting. Another priority is augmenting coastal water quality work. Also continuing to promote water safety, including possible water safety seminars for kids, kayak rack signage. I think we did that last year, I believe. And a seasonal series of water safety interviews for instance, with the harbor master or marine safety unit of the police department. These could be joint efforts. I think those would be fun. That's something that we should consider. And then last but not least, she said that we are going to try to go back to in-person meetings in April. So that'll be very exciting for the commission to finally be in person. And hopefully some of those meetings could be at Wheat Beach Paddle Hut. That's been a fun place for us to have the meetings. And then I think she already mentioned is that she worked with Janet on the proposed legislative response, and with Monica and Pam on the ARPA money allocation. And of course, she talked to Monica about the Wheat Beach building painting. So she wanted me to mention those too. But that's it. I feel like we got a lot done in this short period of time. Thank you guys for being so effective and efficient with your responses and everything.
Great job.
Thank you, Susan.
So we have to adjourn, right?
No, we have to have new business. Anybody have new business before I do that? Any new business? I guess I need a motion to adjourn. Oh, we got two, Kathy and Kara, right away. Let's go with the roll call then.
Susan,
Thanks, Jamie. Yes.
Amy,
Yes, before 9, Susan, hats off.
no, that's very impressive. And Janet, please.
Yes, sorry. My connection's bad here.
That's everybody.
That's it.
Thank you. Andy. That was awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
good night.
Susan, for that efficient meeting.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Very great, Susan.